Good morning and welcome to Pannonhalma. This is the second largest Archabbey of the entire world after the one in Monte Cassino. And behind me you see its chapel, its entrance and the monastery. Now the Archabbey of Pannonhalma was built in 996, commissioned by Prince Geza, the son of Arpad, and it was his son, eventually King Stephen, that got Hungary en route to Christianity. Prince Geza invited the Benedictine order in order to establish this monastery you see behind me, and it has been in function for over 1,000 years. And during those 1,000 years, obviously, it has encountered a lot of history and events. It was sacked by the Ottomans. The Turks plundered the church from the inside, but it also built new fortifications against the Turks. It was banned out of order by Joseph II, only to be reinstated by his successor. It houses the heart of the last Archduke of Austria-Hungary, Otto Habsburg, in the church, and it has a gigantic library of over 400,000 volumes, including the first document with Hungarian words on it. Now, I think that is enough room to explore, so feel free to join me and let's see what Pannonhalma has to offer. Now, one of the special things about Pannonhalma is that it is still in function. There are 50 monks living here and around 350 apprentices, boys that are schooled and educated here, because there are still regular services and because it is still in use. A lot of the property is not available to the public, and many buildings have a wish for silence, and as such many of this video will be a voiceover and not a live commentary, out of respect for not talking in the places that you're not supposed to talk. So hopefully you understand, and without further ado, join me on exploring Pannonhalma. Inside this empire-style library, we don't just find 400,000 books, which are kept on collection. About 120,000 are on display, like I said. But among other things on display are the earliest document containing Hungarian words, and perhaps just as interesting, over here, this is the foundation charter of the Tihanyi Abbey of 1055. So that's nearly 1,000 years ago, written on parchment. And a little bit next to that, over here, this is the Charter of Privileges for the monastery, written by King St. Stephen. And over there is his royal sigil. This was written in 1002, so that's 1017 years ago. Is incredible to think about. And aside from all the books and all the ancient scrolls and books on display, there are also statues. So for example, this statue is of Francis I, King of Hungary, Emperor of Austria. The entire library is just absolutely breathtaking, especially with the knowledge that it has been in use, and it still is in use. But it has been for many, many centuries. In 1786, Joseph II closed down all Christian schools and monasteries in Hungary. Pannonhalma met the same fate. In 1802, it was opened again by his successor, but only under the condition that the monks of Pannonhalma would only occupy themselves with education and praying to God. And that is what you see on the right over there. You see the bishop handing a pamphlet, a paper, to the king with docita or docita on it, which basically means to educate or to teach. Now, the gigantic library wasn't initially built. It was only built in the 19th century, and there was a reason for that. During the Ottoman invasion in the 16th century, basically the entire catalogue of books and scriptures were destroyed. Only about 750 were saved. And afterwards it was closed until 1802 by King Joseph I, which in turn led to the need to construct a new library at the beginning of the 19th century. And over here is a former entrance next to the gigantic wall, and it's been closed. And next to it is, you can vaguely make out the sculptures inside of the wall, which probably are supposed to be a monk in the center with two apprentices next to him. This is the grave of Otto von Habsburg, the last crown prince of the Habsburg Empire, and over there his heart is buried. His body is retained in a crypt, the Capuchin crypt in Vienna, and it is only his heart that is buried over here. Over here is the gallery of the library of Pannonhalma, and the paintings you are seeing, these are paintings by Dutch, German, Italian artists, and they're all in the Renaissance or pre-modern style. They have been painted around the 16th century, with others in the 17th century and some earlier, but I think it goes without saying that these paintings and this art is of incredible wealth. It's over 300-400 years old sometimes, and it is a beautiful addition to an already staggering, mind-blowing library. It certainly has been an interesting day, and now that I've arrived in Zurich in nearly 40 degrees weather with a beautiful church behind me and a monastery on the other side, I think it is time to close off this video. I had already filmed a different outro. It was on the steps of the hill of Pannonhalma, which caused me to nearly break my neck at least 2 times. So I figured, why not record one in Zurich, the city a bit south. We've seen a beautiful monastery over here in the church, but I think that when we think of Pannonhalma, we've seen just a fraction of this beautiful 1,000-year-old second largest archabbey of the world. I hope you found it just as beautiful and interesting as I found it, and hopefully you'll join me next time as I explore more of Hungary. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.